All right, this is the Lakeville Open Space Meeting being called to order, 7:04 p.m. Going to start off by reading the COVID memo.
They're not following up on DEP daily. They're not following up on.
I think someone has their mute off. Sounds like background noise.
That's Brian. He's on the phone.
Jesse, you're now muted. We can't hear you. And we have Mike now.
Okay. Now you can hear me?
Yes, and it was delayed for a good purpose because now we have Mike.
All right, perfect. All right. And the script for remotely conducted open meetings. As a preliminary matter, this is Jesse Medford, Chair of the Lakeville Open Space Committee. Permit me to confirm that all members, staff, and persons anticipated on the agenda are present and can hear me. Members, when I call your name, please respond in the affirmative. Liz Nash, who is not here. Brian Reynolds.
Present.
Mike Schroeder.
Yes.
Donna Wabreck.
Here.
Adam Young.
Here.
And staff, NA. Anticipated speakers, NA. Good evening. This open meeting of the Lakeville Open Space Committee is being conducted remotely, consistent with Governor Baker's executive order of March 12, 2020, due to the current state of emergency in the Commonwealth due to the outbreak of the COVID-19 virus. In order to mitigate the transmission of the COVID-19 virus, we have been advised and directed by the Commonwealth to suspend public gatherings, and as such, the governor's order suspends the requirement of the open meeting law to have all meetings in a publicly accessible physical location. Further, all members of public bodies are allowed and encouraged to participate remotely. The order, which you can find posted with agenda materials for this meeting, allows public bodies to meet entirely remotely so long as reasonable public access is afforded so that the public can follow along with the deliberations of the meeting. Ensuring public access does not ensure public participation unless such participation is required by law. This meeting will not feature public comment. For this meeting, the Lakeville Open Space Committee is convening by video conference via Zoom as posted on the town's website. Please note that this meeting is being recorded and that some attendees are participating by video conference. Accordingly, please be aware that other folks may be able to see you, and take care not to screen share your computer. Anything that you broadcast may be captured by the recording. All supporting materials that have been provided members of this body are available on the town's website unless otherwise noted. The public is encouraged to follow along using the posted agenda unless I note otherwise. We are now turning to the first item on the agenda. Before we do so, permit me to cover some ground rules for effective and clear conduct of our business and to ensure accurate meeting minutes. I will introduce each speaker on the agenda. After they conclude their remarks, the chair will go down the line of members, inviting each by name to provide any comment, questions, or motions. Please hold until your name is called. Further, please remember to mute your phone or computer when you are not speaking. Please remember to speak clearly and in a way that helps generate accurate minutes. For any response, please wait until the chair yields the floor to you and to state your name before speaking. If members wish to engage in colloquy with other members, please do so through the chair, taking care to identify yourself. Finally, each vote taken in this meeting will be conducted by roll call. And the first item on the agenda, in accordance with the governor's order suspending certain provisions of the open meeting law relating to the 2020 novel coronavirus outbreak emergency, the September 2nd, 2020 public meeting of the Lakeville Open Space Committee shall be physically closed to the public to avoid group congregation. However, to view this meeting in progress, please go to facebook.com/LakeCAM. You do not need a Facebook account to view the meeting. This meeting will be recorded and available to be viewed at a later date at lakecam.tv. And we have LakeCAM recording. Is anyone else recording? Okay. Nothing heard. And our first item on the agenda is the meeting minutes, approval of the August 5th meeting minutes, which I haven't seen a copy of yet. Adam, did you send those out yet, or should we just bump that to next?
Yeah, I have sent it. I can pull it up right now, and what will be the best way to share it? Should I read it? Should I email it?
Well, I think it's best if we just read it in advance and next time, and then have it on the website for everyone to read 2 days prior. That way we don't just sit here and have to read a couple pages.
Yeah, sure.
Dead air. So we will table that to the next meeting since we didn't get to review in advance and post to the website. Old business, discuss appointment renewals. Brian, we spoke earlier. You said you did your renewal in the past month, so you were the last remaining member to get that, and now we all are officially sworn in. Liz told me that she was sworn in to be our representative for the hospital properties, the open space rep for that. And also, Patrick Marshall told me that he was sworn in to continue being our liaison to the Master Plan Implementation Committee. So we are good for the year on renewals. All right. Next part of old business is discuss the open space plan work group meetings. And last month we had discussed that we were going to start talking a little bit about the survey this month. Open that up to anyone to discuss what you have ready.
Sure. So I'll start by mentioning approximately 3 weeks ago, I emailed everyone individually. Not sure if that part was even necessary or not, but you all should have received a short video that summarizes and shows off the survey design. I didn't get any specific feedback from anyone, and I'll take that as acknowledgement that nothing glaring needs to be changed about it. I would like to just open the floor right now to see if anyone has anything that's come to mind since then.
I thought you pretty well covered, Mr. Chairman, can I speak?
Yep, go ahead.
I thought you pretty well covered all the bases. The one thing that I had wondered is it going to be done through SurveyMonkey?
Yes, the idea.
That's an online thing.
Right.
Right?
It is. Yeah, the idea is that it would be conducted fully online with a paper copy made available.
Okay.
We didn't want to have the online version. And this has lots of benefits, such as immediate and just very efficient data collection, not having to have a big stack of papers and then input the data manually.
Oh yes, having done that for the other surveys, I understand that, but this is something we have to pay for.
SurveyMonkey itself, it has a minimal fee, something that, I mean, I wouldn't mind putting it on my own expense if that was allowed. I don't really, I won't opine about that, but it's a minor fee. I think it's $15 a month or something like that.
So it's just okay, but and that takes care of all the compilation of information that you get.
Yes, I mean, there's a lot of labor that goes into it after the survey has been collected, and I'd be happy to do that as well. But it shouldn't cost us any kind of, substantial money. However, I will note that there are going to be other expenses other than SurveyMonkey. And these are things that we should discuss. So for example, it's going to be very important that we make as many people aware of the survey as possible. And I'm still thinking about the proper ways of doing that. So it's easy to send out Facebook posts, etc., mailing lists, but it's also going to be important that we give access to the survey to people who don't necessarily go online. So if there is any way to send out, for example, mailing flyers, if you're like me, you got a bunch of mailing flyers recently for all the elections, that kind of thing. And something like that would raise awareness of the fact that this survey is available online. And you wouldn't have to, for example, if we had sent out a paper copy of the survey, you'd have to fill it out and send it back. We're going to avoid that as much as possible, but maybe some kind of small mailer could inform people that the survey is available at this web link, or here are a few locations in town that you can pick up a physical copy if that's your preferred method. I think that would be a great way to ensure that lots of people have access to take the survey. Surveys are only as valuable as the number of people and the representativeness of those people who take it. So increasing sample size and making sure that it's a representative view of Lakeville and not just some skewed, biased subsample.
Yeah.
That's going to be very important. And I think the benefits of the survey are going to be great, and we've discussed them in the past. So I look forward to trying to figure out how we can raise awareness and send it out. That's really the primary impediment right now. There's really no issue with opening the survey to responses. I mean, if I really wanted to, which I won't, I could simply launch it right now and have anyone take it if they had the link. But it's important that we do it right. So maybe we should discuss if there are any sources of funding or any other potential partnerships or anything anyone has in mind about getting the word out there. Maybe it is even having some kind of flyer.
Well, a flyer we could be quite simple. We don't have to have something fancy like the stuff I've been getting in mail for candidates. It's a matter of getting it into people's hands and at a time when they want to read it. I'm thinking, hey, November 3rd, somebody should be standing outside the polling station with a nice warm jacket on and handing them out.
Yeah, there's an idea.
But yeah, there's a whole long list of possibilities of groups that you can reach.
Right, and I believe, I can't remember if this came up last month or whether I read this somewhere, but one idea is, I don't have any children. I don't know what the school schedule is like or whether they're doing in-person schooling right now, but one idea that's worked elsewhere is to send the survey notifications home with the kids. In a lot of ways, you are cutting a wide swath across the population, and it'd be relatively cheap to pass the information along that way. That's one idea.
There may be some restrictions on paper handling. I don't know, so it may be different this year. That's something to check out. There are, well, I'm sure that there are so many notices that are going home to parents that they probably don't want to add anything.
I have a question. When you first mentioned you shared a video, I'm sitting here thinking I don't remember seeing any video. I just looked at my email. I see you sent a couple emails on August 7th, and I must have totally missed them because they're unopened, also including meeting minutes from August. So you did send those. I just didn't. And this video that you sent, now you said you can't share it.
Well, I would definitely try to limit the number of people who see the survey before it's released, and that's simply just a matter of minimizing bias and and other scientific things that probably in terms of, the grand scheme of things don't matter too much. Like we're certainly breaking the rules by sharing the survey. It's more a matter of validity. So I suppose we could discuss it. And you know what I'll do is I'll do that. I'll raise some of the topics in the survey. That way we can have a discussion about it, and just avoid sharing my screen. And that way there's, the people who take it, well, it'll still be their first time seeing it when they do take it, and that's really what we're at. So, for example, question 1 is: are you a resident of Lakeville? The options include yes, year-round; yes, seasonally; no, but I used to be; no, but I intend to move there; and no, never. And I'm going to go through this because there are about, I'd say, 8 minutes of these questions, so you're going to have to stop me if you'd like to discuss something. How much do you care about the following recreation activities? So there's many items, and you can rate them between not at all to extremely much. And the items include hiking, ice skating, town center activities, walking or running, golfing, swimming, using athletic fields, mountain biking, using indoor recreation centers, using children's play areas, boating, canoeing, sailing, hunting, archery, tennis, using dog parks, using ATVs or dirt bikes, wildlife watching, fishing, cross-country skiing, snowshoeing, horseback riding, car shows, road cycling.
Was
So,
photography in there?
no, but it should be.
Can I ask if we could add pocket parks?
Say that again?
Pocket parks. Pocket parks are very small parks.
Okay, well, I think this question is more about the activities rather than the locations themselves.
Well, okay, maybe you could rephrase it in another way.
What are you after?
Well, outdoor recreation for leisure,
Right.
like sitting on a bench
Right. Okay.
or that sort of thing.
Yeah, you're right. That does make sense, and that should be included. Okay. And just in the interest of time, I'm going to continue on. Otherwise, we might end up listening to the survey for the entire hour. I then ask additional questions, but only about a subset of the answers that were previously selected. So I don't want to ask too many questions, but if, for example, if you said that you care very much about, let's just pick snowshoeing, I then ask questions about snowshoeing and anything else you say you care very much about, rather than all of the items. One item says here, how satisfied or dissatisfied are you by Lakeville's current opportunities to engage in these activities? And then the options include snowshoeing, leisure, recreation, things that you are highly care about. And so in that way, we can assess whether or not there's certain areas of Lakeville's recreation opportunities that are very satisfying or very dissatisfying to the population. I think that would be a really good thing to know. In an ideal world, we find out, hey, almost everything is very satisfying except for this one activity. I think that would be really useful to hear, so that we know maybe for the next park or open space to make sure that it does include some kind of allowance for those activities. The next question is, which of the following Lakeville open space properties have you heard of before? And I list 8 of them: Ted Williams, Betty's Neck, John Pond, Vigors Conservation, Tamarack Park, Fred Shaw Park, Clear Pond Park, Dickren Duran Park. And I also list what street names they're on. And we'll find out, this is more about whether you've heard about them, whether you've necessarily been to them. But the next question is about whether you've been to them. I ask, in a typical year, how many times would you visit the following open space properties? I think it's important that I include the qualifier in a typical year when we send this survey out. But in this way, we can ask, how often do you go there? It'd be really good to know, put a number on. I then ask another question, which I am personally interested in, and I'd like to get your feedback about whether this does or does not belong in this survey. I write, the Community Preservation Act is a state law that allows local communities to create a dedicated fund to protect open spaces, historic resources, and recreation areas. Hypothetically, would you support or oppose the adoption of a Community Preservation Act in Lakeville? The response options are definitely support, leaning support, unsure, leaning oppose, definitely oppose.
I guess unsure kind of covers if people need more information.
Right. Any other thoughts?
You were wondering if that, input on whether that should be there. I mean, I really like that, potentially having that question in there. It's a hot button item in this town, and just to get some, responses like that, you can really get a good feel for how some people are thinking.
Yeah. Great.
I agree.
So knowing that this survey might be perceived to be long, I put a note on the next page that says, just so you know, there's only 4 pages remaining. Hopefully I write, in 2020 or 2021, 2 large Lakeville properties will be turned into commercial distribution centers, the Lakeville Hospital and the Lakeville Country Club properties. What is your opinion about these changes? The response options vary from very good for Lakeville, good for Lakeville, neutral for Lakeville, bad for Lakeville, very bad for Lakeville. And then I have a why text entry box to explain their answer.
Make sure the box is big.
It is a big box.
I would just note, I wouldn't say they will be changed to distribution centers. I would say they are expected to be.
Likely to be, yeah.
Yeah, likely to be.
Okay. 3 survey pages remaining. Below are listed several potential reasons for protecting open spaces in Lakeville. Please indicate how much you do or do not personally care about each reason. The response options vary from not at all, a little, a moderate amount, a lot, or extremely much. And the options are protecting wildlife environments, attracting tourism for non-residents, providing recreation to town residents, and protecting historic sites.
What was the question itself again? How's it worded?
Below are listed several potential reasons for protecting open spaces in Lakeville. Please indicate how much you do or do not personally care about each reason.
Okay. And the first one because I was listening, do you have the environmental benefits fully covered? Because it seems to me I only heard one.
Right. I'll restate the options are protecting wildlife environments, attracting tourism, providing recreation, and protecting historic sites.
Because it also is, how does, actually makes the town cooler. But if you have forests rather than asphalt, but it is so there are the environmental benefits, and I don't know if you want to lump them, if you wanted to spell them out, but it's water protection is probably water quality protection is a big one.
Okay.
But
so in that,
but just the aesthetic beauty of the town. Do you have that? Yeah.
No, I don't, but I should. So in that case, it'll be protecting wildlife environments, attracting tourism for non-residents, providing recreation to town residents, protecting historic sites, providing, and I'll work on the wording, aesthetic beauty to the town, and also water quality protection.
Maybe water quality and other environmental benefits. I mean, that kind of includes wildlife, but it's. I mean, I don't know if you want to get into the whole climate change thing.
Right. Yeah, I think that water quality is a very easy thing to grasp.
Yeah.
And I would like to avoid it being political, given the state of the world
right.
today.
Yeah.
But let's, you know what, you can shoot me an email if you have any other thoughts about that.
Okay. Yeah.
refine it further. Not that climate change should be political.
But it is.
The next questions are demographic information. So I ask, why I even state, why are we asking for demographic information? We want to assess whether survey responders are representative of the town. Your responses to these questions are optional. Then I have questions such as, which town precinct do you live in? If you are unsure, check here. And there's a button that they can click. If they enter their address, it'll tell them they're in precinct 1, 2, or 3. And then I include in parentheses, why are we asking? We want to determine if respondents to the survey are representative of the entire town. And again, this section is optional because I'm assuming many people won't want to do that, but it is important. I also ask how many people live in your household at each age group. And the age groups are, well, you can imagine what they are, under 15, 15 to 24, et cetera, et cetera. Next, your housing status, own, rent, or other, for example, reside with family. And your residency status, not a current resident of Lakeville, year-round resident of Lakeville, seasonal resident of Lakeville.
Now, you said this section was optional. Is that last question also optional?
Yes, every question on this page is completely optional. You can progress to the end of the survey without answering any of those questions. And the final page of the survey, would you be interested in answering additional research questions related to open spaces in Lakeville in the future? This gives me the opportunity to follow up with people and just form some relationships. I think it would be valuable for our committee to form these relationships. And then the final question says, if you said yes above, please provide your email address and or phone number. And that's the survey.
And I think I've asked this question before. How do we know that we don't get multiple responses from the same person? Or or does that just not, is that kind of not really significant? A significant concern?
It's not a significant concern because there are safety mechanisms in SurveyMonkey to detect when someone has submitted multiple responses.
Okay.
It will deliberately prevent that. And even if they were to get very creative, I don't know who wants to screw with the survey, but even if they have a way to do it, I'm trained in picking those things out. So
okay. All right. So it's something you just don't worry about that much.
No, I mean, I keep it in my mind, but I check for it, and I have never had anyone get by me.
Can I say something? This is Brian Reynolds. Okay. Two things that I would like to suggest to go in there someplace is the night sky issue, not having excessive light showing, and a boat ramp for a long pond access to water for boating people, however it could be worded.
Okay, what would you like to know about, let's just take the first one first. What do you want to know about the night sky issue? Do you want to know people's opinions about it, or?
Well, it's about astronomy and being able to look up at the sky at night and see a dark, clear sky. And some people want to have very bright outdoor lights.
Right, so you're asking, the question you're interested in is, I mean, I understand the topic. I'm trying to think of the question that we would ask. Is it, how much do you care about having very dark skies at night, something like that?
Well, it probably should reference to astronomy, and it's been brought up at previous open space meetings over the years.
You're saying like on a scale of 1 to 5, how important is this to you, kind of thing?
Yeah, it's the night sky. Yes.
Okay. Yeah, and that can also be, yeah, I can already imagine how that'll work in. So yeah, that'll be easy to do. And then the other question was the boat ramp.
There has been proposed a boat ramp to Long Pond from Lakeside Avenue somewhere, so that Lakeville people could go boating on the pond. I don't know where the town stands with that, but
That-
I think it should be asked.
That's the first I've heard of that.
Well, we do have, there's already a question about how important voting is, isn't it? Isn't that one of the things you ask about?
One of the questions I read very quickly was, how much do you care about the following recreation activities? Boating, canoeing, sailing was one of them, and they can indicate how much they care about it. And then they can indicate how much they are dissatisfied to satisfied with those opportunities.
Was there a comment box with that too? Maybe that they could,
No, there isn't, but I can easily add one.
I think maybe a lot of the questions, I mean, could have a comment box. I mean,
Sure. Okay. I can make
I don't think necessarily need to have a question specifying boat ramp, but just as long as we already have established a lot of water activities in a question. I would
Right.
think.
Now, I
Somebody,
think,
go ahead, sorry.
no, I think actually bringing that up is going to cause a lot of angst with people. Because there's a lot of issues right now with the Freetown and people illegally ramping into the pond from various places. So if we can like kind of hide it in somewhere, that'd probably be better.
We can include, like Jesse said, like we already have boating among many other options, and it'll be interesting to see. That's the good thing about keeping it very not biased whatsoever, is if that stands out in the data as something people are very dissatisfied by, we can investigate further, and maybe it will give them some data to what you're kind of talking about. Anyway, I think I'm going to make these changes so that the survey can move forward. And I will send out an additional video or some other documents so that everyone can review it before I consider it finalized. And then I'll turn my attention to actually how do we send mailers out or raise awareness of it, because I think that plan needs to get ironed out before we actually open it up to people.
Yeah, it sounds good. I like what you got so far. We're starting to get moving on this, so it's a great sign. Yeah, and then when we think we have something finalized, we'll just vote and see if it's approved, ready to go forward with the next step. Then, anybody else have anything about the survey? Or
I think it's fine. Brian Reynolds.
all right. All right, nothing else heard. I'll go to the next item on the agenda. Or is there anything else with the open space plan in general, other than survey, that we need to talk about this meeting?
Well, yes, you had asked me to go through the plan and mark the parts that needed to be updated. I actually had already done that. When I tried to go back over what I had done, I had a lot of trouble. Adam, I think I need new instructions on how to do this, because I couldn't figure out how to have one color be what I was doing, and sometimes I couldn't get my name on it anymore. It was coming out anonymous. So I didn't do much revising to what I'd already done, but I really already went through the parts and just indicated what I thought needed to be revised. The trouble is my comments, you can't always tell exactly where in the body of the text they go. I mean, I know where they go, but I'm not sure reading it, people will really pick up on that.
Right. Yeah, I know what you're talking about. It can get quite messy. It's unfortunately, there's no real way around it. About the anonymous thing, I would check to make sure that you're still logged in. Well, sometimes go ahead.
Do I need a password?
Only
log
to your
in?
own Gmail account. So, for example, right now I have Google Docs open to make these meeting minutes, and I can see in the top right corner that I'm logged in with my Gmail account. And then if I make comments to this document, it'll use my name. I'm wondering if maybe you accessed the open space plan while logged out of your Gmail, and then in that case, you wouldn't know who to ascribe the
Right,
comments.
yes, that's probably it. Right, okay. The other thing that has been on my mind is that while I did that, I think one of the things that we need to do is the various sections all throughout the plan, but they fall into that need to be updated. And one way to go about this might be to assign different people to do certain types of research. For instance, we need to update a lot about water usage. Have they changed the amounts that can be withdrawn from the lakes? What are the water usages? And is Lakeville still allowed the amount that there used to be? Do we still have as let me rephrase that. Are there more houses, more pieces of land that are tied into a public type water supply? Or are we still mostly wells? I'm sure we're still mostly wells, but has that percentage changed? Then another thing is bylaws. Have there been some significant bylaw changes that affect the development of the town? And let's see, another one was the current land use. How has that changed? Because we have charts in the plan that show how much land was in agriculture, how much was in cranberry bogs, that type of thing. And I know all of that has changed. So I'm not even sure where to go for that information. And some of this, the master plan may already have done. So has the master, I'm interrupting a minute. Has the master plan has not come out yet, has it? I mean, the entire plan in its formal, in its final form? I know they had, there was that meeting that they had, and were we seeing the actual master plan there, or is there something a document we're waiting to have come out? I'm hearing silence. Nobody knows.
Yeah,
I don't know.
the exact answer to that.
I need to check with Patrick, I guess, because I think a lot of the things that we need to know may already be in the master plan. We know they have the maps, for instance, almost all the maps we need. But that's kind of what I was thinking. We need to divide up the type of research that needs to be done, and then somebody needs to plug it into the plan and decide what rewriting needs to be done. I mean, we know that the things at the beginning and the whole last section of it needs to be redone, because it's what we're doing as we move forward. And it's based on the survey primarily. So, and what we decide what our assessments are of the town's needs. So that's maybe just a more of a discussion for next time. I don't know. People need to like go through the plan and see what you can make of what I've written.
Yeah, I mean, I don't think this is necessarily a discussion that we need to keep having as a group. It's just we each need to give each other a little boost in the middle of the month to keep working along on it. As the month goes by, every month goes by, we're just getting later and later. So
that's right.
We need to.
Well, I think maybe it would help me at least to review who is responsible for which sections. I think that information may have gotten lost somewhere along the way. I know that I'm going to be working on the survey section, and also I'm going to, I believe, after that, go through and help update the maps, which we should have access to now. And that by itself, I think, is a good amount of work. Is there anything else that we can say about things that we are committed to or individual areas? Because I know that's the only reason I get things done is I've forced myself to take it on.
Well, I'd be willing to see if I can track down the information from the water departments and review the stuff and the environmental stuff. But there's a whole section on recreation that needs to be updated, because there have been some changes to that. And I would really appreciate if somebody else would check on bylaws. But it's just that there are a whole lot of different phone calls that need to be made. We need to figure out what are the references that we do. And I would be happy to talk with Patrick about the master plan and see what's how much of the stuff that we need to update is already in there. And I will go after the water departments and the Board of Health and see what I can find out that needs to be updated as far as the water is concerned. Nothing really needs to be updated, and they're minor updates to the wildlife sections. Most of that can ride as it is.
Right.
All right. Let's see. So I guess we can go on to the next item in old business then. Unless anyone else has something to say about the open space plan. All right.
I will also ask Liz if she'd be willing to do the bylaw stuff.
All right.
Okay.
The next item is the discussion of the updates by open space liaisons. Starting with Mike in the Assawamsett Pond Complex.
All right, they have, I can never remember the title of this grant. It's the one that Serpent is working on, which that is a flood mitigation study that involves right now there is a subgroup that is going to be following through on actions on the Assawamsett, on the Upper Nemasket, and that is, as far as I know, the focus is going to be on repairing the Assawamsett Pond dam that goes into the Nemasket, and potentially taking out the dam that is at Wareham Street, and doing some silt removal in places where it has, wait a minute, a culvert repair. There's the culvert between Long Pond and Assawamsett Pond is one of the priority things. And attacking weeds. I'll get back to you after we meet the next time. I'll have more to say. We'll be meeting once a month.
Okay, next is me with the Park Commission. The fields and the trails have been getting a lot of use at Ted Williams Camp this summer. A lot of people are just trying to get out there and get some exercise since there's not much other forms of entertainment to do. Talking about doing some gardening around the office building there with the Lakeville Garden Club, working on some kind of volunteer partnership to do that. That's going to be discussed at tomorrow's meeting, so looking forward to beautifying that place up. Other than that, nothing really new. So next would be Patrick Marshall with Master Plan. He emailed me, said they haven't met in a little while, so he didn't have anything for that other than to tell me he did get sworn in for another year as our liaison. And Brian Reynolds with the Historical Commission. Do you have anything new since last time you spoke to us was 2 months ago?
Okay, we're scheduling a meeting for the third Wednesday of this month, and we're going to be talking about the completion of the comprehensive inventory of the houses and buildings in Lakeville, and getting Thompson Hill Cemetery on the National Register of Historic Sites. That's basically what we're going to be talking about.
All right. You didn't have a meeting last month, or?
No.
Okay.
Because of the virus, things have been really slowed down.
Okay, yeah, understandably.
Hey, Brian, I'm very curious if you could just tell me what is the Thomas Hill Cemetery?
Thompson Hill Cemetery is on Route 79. There is a LeBaron Hills golf course in back of it. It's a very old cemetery in town, and we've been trying to get it on the National Register for a number of years.
Is it?
It has a white fence in front.
Is it because of the age, or is there anyone of note who is buried there?
Well, a lot of it, well, there's nobody really nationally famous buried there, but a lot of significant people to Lakeville's history are buried there. Ben Simon, who was a Native American Indian, his grave marker is there. So there's other people also.
Right. Okay, so the next item is discuss any updates on properties currently of interest to the Open Space Committee. First property in here, I think we discussed this one in its entirety already. Pauline's Path property, 73 Holland. I haven't driven by there. I don't know if they've started anything or not, but last month we talked about that they were given the go-ahead by the Board of Selectmen. So I don't have any news on that. Anybody else?
This is probably not the moment to bring this up because, but it was that was the property that started the whole thing that we needed to reach out to landowners. And I did, we talked about putting something on Facebook. Do you want me to wait until the end to?
It's on our agenda to talk about.
Okay, all right, okay.
Coming up soon, yeah. So yeah, that property brought that up. Next is the Lakeville Country Club. I know they're building a lot on their property across the street from there. I see they're doing a lottery soon, so must be getting pretty close to completion, or at least part of it. I don't have any news on it. Other than that, anybody else?
Would you repeat what you said? We're talking the country club?
No, it's also their property across the street, the LeBaron properties.
Oh.
Where they're doing a lot of building.
Right, okay, all right, yes, all right. Sorry, I had the wrong golf course.
Not the golf course. Oh, you're thinking of the other one. Yeah.
Yes.
Which that one's, no, I'm talking about the wrong one here. I see. I jumped ahead to LeBaron. Because, yeah, Lakeville Country Club is the next one on the agenda. But I'm talking about my mistake. So Lakeville Country Club, I've heard nothing new about. Anybody else heard that? Yeah. Lakeville Hospital properties. What's that, Brian?
I've heard nothing new.
Yeah, nothing new either. Lakeville Hospital properties. Liz said, yes, they did swear her in to be our representative on the committee to discuss the hospital properties, but they haven't contacted her about any meetings yet, so she doesn't have any details of when that's going to start or what it's going to entail. She's just been sworn in, and that's it.
Okay, I thought there had been some discussion maybe by the selectmen of having a part-time town planner or a consultant involved in some of the bigger projects. I don't know what the status of that is.
I did see an article recently that they're looking to hire a planner. It was in the Millboro Gazette, either that or South Coast. I don't know any details about that though, but I did hear that, yeah. And not just for the hospital properties, I don't believe. I think it's just for in general, but of course hospital properties was the biggest thing going on. And I know they had been asking, at least Zink was asking for that a lot. Every time he spoke at a meeting, he was saying we really need a town planner, and maybe now might be coming to fruition. The next thing was LeBaron Hills, which I accidentally jumped ahead to. I don't know any more about that. And then Ocean Spray property, and that's been on here for many months. I haven't heard anything new. Is anybody else? All right, nothing heard. So next item was what Mike brought up. Discuss the chapter land spreadsheet. We brought it up last month of the Lakeville's 61 A, B, and C properties. Last month we showed a spreadsheet of every property that's on chapter land, and we were trying to find out, based on the Board of Selectmen's recommendation to us, that we should be proactive to find out who is considering selling before they actually get a purchase and sale agreement, which is usually how we find out, and then it's too late. We can't negotiate or anything. So we got a hold of this spreadsheet, the list of the property owners, what the properties are, the size, where they are. And Mike, you had discussed maybe we should start off by making a post online in the Facebook groups and things like that. So you had a paragraph suggestion of something we can work off to make a post. And what I proposed, since that wasn't put on the town website, we didn't have it in time. I think it's small enough that we might just go ahead and read that out, and we can discuss it from there.
The only trouble is I didn't print it out. Can I access it with the Zoom on? Can somebody tell me what to do? Can I?
Well, we can put it on the screen.
How do I do that?
I've got it in front of me. If we can,
Got it.
easy.
It's I know it. I just don't know how to do it.
I can do it for you, Mike, if that's all right.
Yeah, you have it in an email.
No, I have it right here.
Yeah. Oh, I'm impressed. How'd you do that? Okay, do you want me to read it out? Or do you want to just read it to yourselves?
Well, since it's showing, you don't have to read it. This is
Okay.
All of our viewers can.
But Brian can't see it.
Oh, yeah, we might as well read it then, because Brian can't see
Okay,
it
all
on
right.
the phone.
Lakeville would not be Lakeville without its many forest fields and bodies of water, but many of them, or access to them, are privately owned, so we should not take them for granted. Lakeville's Open Space Committee is very concerned about the recent and impending loss to development of significant open spaces. We consider any open space significant to the quality of life of our town if it provides recreation, especially so-called passive recreation, the potential for future food production, water resource protection, or natural forest with all its many benefits to humans and wildlife welfare. The larger the parcel, the greater the significance, but so are small parcels that are adjacent to other permanently protected land or water bodies. And I've said here that I need help suggesting how big a piece of land we would be talking to. An isolated piece maybe needs to be more than 30 acres. We ask anyone who has land with such characteristics, whether under Chapter 61 or not, when you are considering selling or developing your land, please contact us. Now, how would they do that? We need to say. The town may or may not have the resources to buy your land, but if indeed the land has significant value in its open state, it may be able to work with other conservation partners to your benefit, as well as to the benefit of Lakeville's future. Does that need to be town? I don't know.
That sounds good.
I think
But to put this out in the public, you really need to give it some serious thought.
Yeah. Well, I think, one of your two main questions here, how would they contact us? I don't think they necessarily, if they responded to this, would come straight to us. I think they would, the town website has a contact us. There's, people like Maureen or Tracy that would gather emails about this and forward it on to us. I think those are the ways that we would have to figure out. I mean, we could contact them ourselves and town hall to find out what way they think would be the best way. There is a way to contact open space through the website, I believe. Like if someone has complaints or whatever, suggestions, they can contact us through there. I think this kind of falls under that category.
So I should say, please contact us through the town website.
Yeah, well, the only thing I worry about that, though, sometimes that's an extra step that people don't want to take, though. Is if we can get an email that they don't mind giving out, people are like, yeah, I'll just send an email. That's real easy. Taking that step of going to the town website, people are like, I don't want to bother.
Do you think that it would be sensible for us to create an open space committee Gmail account that we could have shared access to and we could use for this kind of purpose?
I believe any email that would be sent to us becomes public, so it has to go through the town.
Mm.
What do you mean it would go through the town?
Well, like when I'm on the park commission, and when they send something related to the parks, the emails don't come directly to the park commission. They go to, I believe Maureen is the one who distributes it, receives and distributes it. I'm not 100% sure on that, but I believe it's her. And I would think they would probably want something along that lines for us too. That way there's a record of it. You know, it's kept, not a Gmail, but it's kept in the town. Which I would think is the way
So
they
it
would.
sounds like what you're saying is that how is contact Maureen?
Yeah, I would think. I would want to ask her if that's the way that she agrees, or maybe she would say that's something that should go to Tracy. I don't know. So I would ask her that. I'll ask her.
Okay.
I would like I just want to mention that this is a little bit of a touchy thing. I mean, people want to explore this, and they don't want I'm remembering a particular case. The man contacted the chair of the Open Space Committee and came to our and eventually ended up coming to our meeting and having a long discussion about what he hoped would be for his meeting, of what would happen to his land. And an Audubon, we found through the Audubon Society a buyer for him, and it all fell through. But it was the way in which he came to the Open Space Committee through the chair. And so he came through one person that he had been recommended that he talk to. I mean, but because it is a kind of a touchy thing, people may want to avoid. You know, an awful lot of this type of thing happens because somebody knows somebody who knows somebody, and I don't know how to keep it from being so bureaucratic, which is going to turn off a number of people. But
Well, I think in the situation you're talking, that was someone who was being proactive. He wanted to do it that way. You know, that's one thing. But here we're trying to solicit responses. But, you know, there's only 130, I believe, is the number of how many properties there were, and how many of them are actually.
But you'll notice I said it's not just chapter 61. It's because there are other properties that are not under chapter 61.
Yeah.
So.
There's only 130 that are chapter, but so yeah, it's, you know, many more the way you have it worded there.
I mean, his property actually was not under chapter 61, but it was a beautiful piece, and now it's gone. But anyway.
Yeah.
You mentioned where it was?
Do I remember where it was? Oh, yes, I do.
Yeah, I'm just trying to think if it was near Elder's Pond.
No, it was, I can't remember the development, but it's between Pickens and Highland Road, I think. It was way down near one of the swamps. I can't remember the development, but Brian, you would remember it if I could just, we went and walked the property. I think his name was Bill Hall. No, that's somebody else. Sorry.
Oh yeah, Bill Hall had property there, and now
that was his name.
Yeah, okay. Yep.
One of the most beautiful pieces of property in Lakeville, but.
Well, and that's the thing, we need to try to get these before they just disappear. Just
Yeah.
to let them know that this is what that we're hoping to do. Just make us be their unofficial right first refusal kind of thing.
So I have a question, Jesse, because you mentioned that for emails, they need to go through the town. Is there any way for someone to, we're having this Zoom on Facebook right now. I know yourself and I and many others are active on Facebook from the town. Is there any way that we can have, for example, an open space committee group or some other way that people can reach us simply by sending a Facebook message? Or do you think that in some way bypasses a needed diversion?
Well, I know the answer to that question was in the online, was it social media policy or whatever it was called, that was just sent to everybody a month ago or so. It does say something about groups like that.
Okay, I'll look into it.
Yeah.
Because in an ideal world, if it was allowed, I think that would be a great way for someone to contact us just to ask questions, especially if someone's watching this and they say, hey, maybe we want to help out with the open space plan, but I'm still kind of curious. I want to talk about it without, formally going through Maureen and kind of getting, putting the ball in motion. Kind of to Mike's point, keeping it light. Let people, ask questions. Any way that we can do that would be useful.
Right.
I have had occasionally somebody ask a question and somebody from the town hall will send us, will recommend that they call one of us. So this could say, please contact the town or an open space committee member and say you can get our contact information through the town.
And then there's always the issue, though, too, if they're just speaking to one of us, then they're getting the sense that we are speaking for the entire group.
Well, this is true, but it's less intimidating, and you're more likely to have people be a little bit more open about their concerns.
Right.
So I don't think that if they talked with just one of us, it would be the type of thing we would say, we can't promise you anything. You need to come to the whole meeting. I think that's what happened with the man that we were referring to. I think he talked with the woman who was the chair at the time, and then he came to the whole committee. But he talked with her first, and so there kind of needs to be some personal contact first. Part of our problem is. I don't think any of us personally know the people who own land in town.
Right. Yeah. And one of the things that we talked about last month was some kind of mass contact strategy where everyone who's on that list gets, a postcard from us or anything else, just so it doesn't end up going this way where, because I know this person or because this is my neighbor, these are the people who we end up, bringing this up to. If we did it in a kind of a mass blast way, all properties would be accounted for in an equal way. But I also don't know the best way of doing that. I think there is a lot of room for improvement in the kind of process, like the outreach process that we have. So I think right now it's kind of just one-offs.
Maybe we need to talk to some of the land preservation people, somebody like the Wildlands Trust, or even talk to. I'm thinking we need to talk to Tricia Cassidy in Middleborough, who has been involved in a lot of this type of thing, and people in Middleborough would know to call Tricia. But they wouldn't know who to call in this town because she's the open space committee, period.
For sure.
What's her title?
Oh, she's actually she's the agent for the Conservation Commission,
Oh, okay.
but I don't think they have an open space committee.
Right. Yeah.
And Tricia has been very involved in some of the land preservation projects that they've done. Of course, it was also their town planner or their town administrator. I think it was their town planner that was involved in also. But we don't have a town planner.
Well, we were working on it.
Yes.
Well, the other question you had was, what size are we
The
talking?
size, yeah.
You suggested maybe more than 30 acres are the larger parcels.
I don't know how many parcels that are that are of that size, but it does say that smaller parcels would be are also at, if somebody's got 5 acres and it's attached to a permanently protected, like attached to Betty's Neck, it would be significant if it was forested. But
Because of what you just said, I would recommend doing away with the part about the larger the parcel, the greater the significance, because you're right. If it is small and it adjoins something else, then it's quite important. So I think this sentence here might only dissuade someone with a small parcel from reaching out. So maybe we don't need this section right here.
Hasn't there been some discussion about having a green belt from the Rhode Island line to Plymouth? And that we would want to get some of the parcels that would be within that green belt.
well, Brian, you're bringing up a whole nother very interesting topic. It's not. I mean, so we would say that that would be one of the things that was significant to the quality of life in town, and that is that it does provide it provides recreation, the potential for food, but also a green corridor. Yeah.
Right. Just another reason why a small parcel might actually be more important.
Right. Yes. So I think I could, Brian. That's a good thought. I could add that to that sentence, that the list of things that make a parcel significant.
Mm-hmm.
But Adam, you're
The
saying
answer-
just take out the whole thing that talks about the size.
Well, not because it's wrong by any means, but just because we would want someone who owns a small parcel to at least reach out to us.
Yeah,
Give
yeah.
us the opportunity, that kind of thing.
If it had some of the other the values, yeah.
Approximately a quarter of them on that list were over 30 acres.
Wow.
All right. I think we have this figured out, except for where we need to send it and how to respond. So. I think it's.
Well, let me talk to Tricia and see what her thoughts are as to how you reach out to people.
All right. Yeah, if it's
I love an excuse to call Tricia anyway.
they're proactive over there in Middleborough and it's working for them, we might as well learn their techniques. All right. Anything else in regards to the chapter lands? No, nothing heard. Then new business. Discuss any correspondence and announcements. In the last month, I didn't see any new emails from the town, and I checked the box a couple weeks ago. I was in town hall and it was empty, so I've got nothing there. And discuss agenda items for next meeting. Anybody have any new items that think should come up next time? Nothing heard. And discuss any other business not mentioned in the agenda that may properly come before the committee. Anything we didn't talk about today that you think we should? All right, nothing heard. Our next meeting would be the first Wednesday of October is October 7th, 7 p.m. Still don't know if it'll be Zoom or if we would go back to our meeting place in Loon Pond Lodge. I'm just going to guess for now it's still going to be Zoom though. If that changes, I'll let you know. And if we need something sooner, if anything comes up that's urgent, we could possibly have a sooner meeting. But can I get a motion to adjourn?
Oh, can I just throw in something quickly?
Sure, go ahead.
We still need another member.
Yes, I did send an email to Fred, we mentioned last month, just to see if he had any interest. I have not heard from anyone in town hall if there was any response to, I believe for 2 months now, they've been advertising the various boards and committees that have open seats. And
The other one was Christina Lightfoot.
she had stated that she doesn't have the time right now.
Oh, okay, okay,
She wants to help with the plan, but she doesn't have
okay, okay.
but yeah, so Fred, none of us had heard from, so I sent him an email. I hadn't heard back yet, but so I don't know. Maybe he didn't even know that the town has open seats and is looking to fill them. So I sent him the email. Hopefully he's interested. But other than that, we ready to have a motion to adjourn?
I move we adjourn.
All right. Mike moves to adjourn. Do we have a second?
Motion seconded.
All right. Adam seconds it. Roll call vote. I'll go in order on my screen. Mike,
Aye.
Brian,
Aye.
Adam,
Aye.
Donna,
Aye.
myself, Jesse, aye. Unanimous. We are adjourned at 8:16 p.m.